Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of Yomo. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are back, a whole brand new week, and we are trying to do part two of the book we started last week. The book called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, and the reflection title.
So the part two of Leaders Eat Last, but the reflection title while you're saying that is The Art of Running Uphill, right?
I know the other one.
I'll explain.
Okay,
So this book got me thinking about, in particular, Simon Sinek said something really interesting in this that was, he said, logically, one would think that the higher an executive moves up in a company, the more responsibility they shoulder, the more elevated stress and unhealthy lifestyle will follow, right? Everyone can visualize, the high powered executive that's got a ton on his shoulders, or his or her shoulders, got a ton of, decisions, people underneath them, or her fate of the company's in their hands, right? Like a lot of stress you would feel like. We've all seen movies about it. Like the higher up you go, you would assume they would be more stressed.
only if you think logically.
If you think logically, like the more responsibility you take on, the more stress. However, studies have proven the exact opposite is true. It's actually that the people in the lowest levels of any organization are 4 times more likely to die from complications arising from burdens of excessive stress to their lives. So there is a literal killing of ourselves. Our jobs are killing us. Powerful. There is the stress and anxiety that comes from not even being in a leadership role, but just being in any role with these kind of companies, the lowest rungs is literally killing us. Now, that got me thinking immediately, right? And this is something that you and I talk about all the time in particular. I was wondering, why does that happen, right? Like, why are you 4 times more likely to die of stress-related activities at a lower level in an organization than upper level? And this has to do with control over your environment. I think of my job right now, I can do whatever the fuck that I want, whenever the fuck that I want. I lead a team, right? Luckily I've designed my team to be able to do the exact same thing that I do because this is the culture that we're trying to create. I can go in the middle of the day and go play tennis for an hour and go on a run. I could go take a break and go listen to an audiobook or go lay down in my bed and do breathing exercises or take a nap if I want to. I can cancel meetings if I want to, if I'm not feeling great or something along those lines. I can do whatever I want for the most part. Like I have full control and freedom over my environment of how I design my day in a leadership role. And that's really what it comes down to is like the less control you have, the more stress you have. When somebody else is forcing and jamming their values down your throat and telling you what you need to do and what's important for you every single day, that's when it becomes stressful. Agree?
Of course, I mean, I think that's logical, and anyone can see that if somebody opposes you, right, it require effort. Because if you go in one way and I force you back, right, you have to use force because that's not nature.
Yep.
And so whenever you have to use force, well, that requires effort. That requires willpower. Requires a lot of power, a lot of reserve. What do you call it?
Willpower.
In many varieties, like willpower,
endurance,
energy. The thing is, when you are basically put in a corner, you're basically being compressed. When you compress, that's just called stress because you are not allowed to flow freely. When you contain water, when you do something that goes against what you're naturally supposed to do, it creates opposition. We can call it resistance. And to me, that's common sense.
Okay, so now you and I talk a lot about the art of running downhill, which is designing your environment and doing the stuff you love to do, aligning to your values, and it feels like effortless as you just speed down a hill, the wind flowing through your hair.
Without resistance.
Without resistance. Because you're just little resistance. I mean, because sometimes you even want a little resistance, but it's a controlled, you're in control. Like you're using the nature and the forces of the world and aligning around that and running with it, right? That's what you feel like when you're going downhill. So we talk about this all the time, of the art of running downhill. And that's really what we're trying to design our lives around. Well, the irony of all ironies is I feel like so many people in this world have perfected the art of running uphill. There is an art to running uphill. Like there is a lot of shit that you endure to go through being on the lowest ladder of the rung and fighting every single day and getting shit done and taking shit from this person and that person and every other person around you, just from your family, from whatever. There's a whole lot of things that people endure. That is an art in itself. I'm not saying it's good, but like we as human beings are incredible at fighting through anything that we're thrown into and just finding a way through, right? So there is the other side of the coin of the art of running uphill. And sadly, like that's what most people get really, really, really good at. And that's fighting trying to break out of these controlled environments or trying to just stay alive in these controlled environments where they don't really have a whole lot to say. So while that is admirable to endure, and endurance is one of my core values. And I appreciate people wanting to just say, like, you know what? Yeah, my job sucks. And I don't really have a lot of control of my environment, so I'm going to fight through it. However, like, it doesn't have to be that way, obviously, right? Like, if you're going to put all that effort to running uphill and the art of enduring the suck and, fall in love with the process, and what's the thing that Jocko Willink says, embrace the suck, and, and all these other things, right? Instead of trying to find ways to cope, to better run uphill, which is what we kind of do, let's change that. And the author states very clearly, it's like less control equals more stress. So take back some control of your life, figure out what you really care about, align life around your values, and start running downhill versus running uphill, and see what happens. I think you'll really enjoy it. So that's something that, you and I are on a mission to try to help people do. But I wrote this reflection, to say, like, there is an art to running uphill. Like, I mean, there really is. Like, I mean, you have to eat a lot of shit. You have to endure a lot, and you got to fight. So there's an art to this. But, like, why the fuck are you doing it? Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't care what kind of art you do. I ain't doing art to run uphill. It's not in my cup of tea. I'm sorry.
I agree. I think the point of what I was getting at with this is, like, these people are exerting so much energy, and they're perfecting the art of just getting through it every single day, right? Just tweak it just a little bit, and you can control your environment a lot more, and you can completely flip the equation.
It's so much easier, and it's not like it's hard, right? Because I told you, like, you just need to, instead of go ahead and do things and try to endure everything that comes your way, you take a moment to say, well, where they want to end up, and then what are the elements that I can leverage to get me to where I need to be, right? So you orient your environment so that you are always in the flow. We're talking about the tailwind versus headwind, right? I mean, where you want to go, depending on what it is, right? You say, well, if I want to go that way, but the headwind, why am I put on myself so that it pushes me back and I have to roll? I mean, to me, it's just idiotic. And so to me, it is just so easy for you to spend just enough, like just a moment, to think about what it is that aligns with you, to, take advantage of the other run downhill. There's no need for anyone to endure. So, hey, oh, look at me, I put up this win and I roll and I was able to get there. Say, well, yay, but you're stupid.
Yeah, right. Like, it's
like you were like pounding your chest, saying, hey, look at how strong I am. I was able to endure all this shit. I was eating all this shit. You see how much shit I ate? It's like, like, you're not impressing me. I don't know what you're trying to do, but you're not impressing me at all. I say, well,
and you die faster. Like, I mean, literally, you die 4 times faster when you do this stuff. Like, you running uphill hurts. It kills you. Like, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Is like I say, I don't care what people do and what people say. I was able to endure eating the frog and eating all the shit, and look at me. I have perfected the art of run uphill, and I say, well. You do what you do.
Right, yeah.
I don't really care. It doesn't entice me even a single bit. I'm sorry, but that's not something I want to do. That doesn't align with me. And so for me, as far as the reflection, like, that's why I say it's question mark. So it's a big question mark.
I'm saying we could do it. Everybody does it. There's a lot of people out there that you go on social media.
I told you before, you can go and clean toilets all day long, but when you can, doesn't mean you should. Right. I mean, you go, hey, you can go and play tennis with a 3-month-old baby, and you can beat him all the time, 100%, and you can smash them smithereens. You can, but should you? That's the thing. I mean, it's a very simple question.
Well, that actually would be the opposite question you should be asking the 3-year-old or whatever they were playing. You're being like, and what are you doing? Eat the frog, man. Take the fucking shot right in the face all day long. And the guy's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're like, take it. Like, just keep whacking balls at him until he finally figures it out. And maybe when he's like 20 or something like that, he's like, oh yeah, I learned how to play tennis the hard way, where I didn't want to be out there. I cried for 4 hours a day every single day, and my dad just hit. Actually, this is what happened to Andre Agassi. His autobiography is really sad. Like, his dad literally dragged him out onto the court when he was like 5 years old. He had a big ass ball machine in the back of the court, or the back of their house. He specifically bought this house that they bought because they had like a old ass tennis court in the back of it, and and he just drilled them every single day, all day long. He just sat there and, he called it the big monster, or the green. Like there was this makeshift ball machine that his dad built. They would just shoot balls at him all day long, and this kid's like, he was like traumatized from like an early age, and he just remember yelling at him, "Hit it harder, Andre! Hit it harder!" And he's like, "I'm trying, I get it." And he hated tennis his whole life. He ate the frog. He ran uphill every single day of his life playing tennis. And it's like, why? Like, he didn't want to do it. I mean, I know that kids don't have agency over this stuff. I mean, that's a secondary point. I mean, like, he didn't have control over his environment. Like, that's on parents to set up the environments for kids to be able to find their own self and their own values and encourage that world. But like, as an adult, like, if somebody was hitting balls at you all day long in the backyard and just screaming at you to keep hitting harder, and when you didn't even want to play tennis anymore, you'd be like, what am I fucking doing here? And like, that's basically what we're all doing all day long. A lot of times it's like, I don't want to go this, my boss is screaming at me, hit it harder, by more deadlines, more reports, more whatever. And you're like, I don't want to do that. Like, this is stupid. I was talking to one of my employees today in a one-on-one, and I was joking with him about, we were talking about a similar topic, and I was joking, he's a college basketball player, and I asked him, like, just out of curiosity, would you play basketball for free if you could every single day? And he was like, absolutely. I would actually pay for it to go play basketball. And I go, would you do this job for free? And he goes, fuck no, like zero chance. And I go, why is that? And he goes, well, I mean, I don't mind it. I get to do some of the stuff I like to do, but I definitely would not do this for free. I was like, that's exactly my point. If you look at your job and you're running uphill, if you wouldn't do it for free. Ironically, I would do this job for free that I'm doing right now. So I'm not being a hypocrite when I say that in my world right now, because I'm doing
I mean, you and I were doing, how much did you get paid?
We paid somebody.
That's my point. Isn't that the proof is in the pudding?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's what I'm saying is, we're not getting paid for anything, and we're still doing it. We're still here.
Yeah.
We're still talking about these things. And that's the thing is, when you're talking about like less control, more stress, and other run uphill, I don't think this is natural. This is what people condition people to, like, from an early age. And the thing is, when you are a kid, you have no control over your environment because your parents and your society is basically conditioning you. And the thing is, when you get an adult, right, you wonder why they don't just suddenly wake up and say, well, this is stupid, I ain't doing that. My belief is that you cannot wake up yourself. You're in a trance already. You cannot wake up yourself. So the only way for you to wake up is somebody gonna have external person gonna have to even try to do something to wake you up. Like, for example, you're being hypnotized, right? You cannot get out of that trance unless somebody from outside is able to pull you out. And this is why I think society has been this way, because we've been conditioned for so long the way humans, we run uphill all the time, and people cannot wake up. This is why I really feel that it is so important for a company to exist, because we are the only person that's able to wake other people up. You don't wake up because you had a perfect life. You wake up because there was an atomic bomb that blasted you from places. Because I guarantee you, if you did not have the atomic bomb with your daughter, you would still be more of the Chris that you were, like, hey, I like to grind and like to be the hustle and bustle for the rest of my life. You will never wake up from the matrix. And that's the reality of how much conditioning we have been, being put under. I have never seen anyone wake up themselves. Okay. You did not wake up yourself. I did not wake up myself. The only reason why you woke up is because you had no choice. An atomic bomb came into your life and you had no choice for other than that, because the thing is, it just completely derailed you. So devastating. Only then when you wake up, and then when you woke up, you and I got together and said, well, we talk about something together. I had a similar experience, not as much as at the level as you do, but because you had that hand reaching out, I was able to grab it, and I start to wake up, and then we start to talk about these things. And this is how we wake other people up. If I would never had the opportunity, because even I would try to wake myself up, because I did hit a brick wall, and I get to a point where I'm so stressed out, I just drop everything, right? I just let the plane crash. But even then, I probably would not have continued down this path. I would have probably reverted back, because somebody's going to try to force me back to society, because society is bombarding me with all these things every single day. So without a force that is more than the pressure from society for me to even get out of that, gooey liquid, think about the matrix, gooey liquid, right? It's resisting me from
Right.
getting out. So I have to have somebody from outside forcefully pull me out. Maybe then when I come out, I can stay outside. But that's the thing, it's very, very difficult.
It
And
is.
to me, like I say, it's impossible if you never had a hand reaching out to you and pull you out. And so all these things that we are experiencing today, it is because of how we condition ourselves over so many years. We're
Mhm.
talking about, like, logically, if you are in a leadership role where you have the ability to control but responsible for more than the guy at the bottom. But
Right.
it's the opposite, because we condition ourselves to do that way, because in the top level, we basically don't take in as much
You're
responsibility.
just designing their environment at the top. I mean, to be honest, you're designing the hell that your employees down below are dealing with. I mean, you're basically shoving all the shit downhill until somebody does it, right? Like, because I mean, as leaders, let's just be honest. Leaders don't really do anything. There's no job responsibility to lead people. Like, I mean, it is completely up in the air. There is a job responsibility for a toilet bowl cleaner, or a janitor. Like, they got to go clean toilet bowls, right? There is no job responsibility for the guy that oversees all the maintenance crews, sets.
Right, you actually need the leaders, because if they know their job, right, and you put it into the organizations, so whenever something happens, it's not like the leader say, "Hey, there is something spill over there." You don't have to tell the janitor to go clean it. He'll go clean it himself, because he knows his
Right.
responsibility. It's
Well,
not like,
maybe
oh,
that's the ironic part of being a leader, is you have to use psychological games to get people to run uphill, and you're like, oh, well, how can I get these people to run uphill better? Let's go do some team building. Let's go build more cultural activities, or let's go watch videos of Jocko Willink talking about
well, they
embracing
don't
the
do
suck.
that,
Or
because you give them.
I did all this
I
stuff
mean,
before.
people don't do that shit because
No, they do.
no, I'm just saying is people don't do the toilet cleaning and they clean up the shit because you give them some organizational activities to do, or team. No,
Yes, they do.
they did it because they don't want to get fired.
Oh, they
I
yeah,
mean,
they don't want to get paid. They want to
I
get a
mean,
paycheck, and
the thing is, you say, well, I'm going to take you to a common retreat so you can clean, the toilet, right?
Oh, that's fair.
I said, fuck that, right? So the thing is, I ain't going to fire you, but I'm going to take you to this retreat so you. No one is going to do that shit. I mean, be honest with me.
I
Like,
agree.
would you do that shit? I mean, to me, it's not about whether you give this guy, team activities and this and that. That's just a show. Basically, it's a show to say, well, I care about you, blah blah blah. We are
It's
Ohana,
not a
we are
show. It's not a
family.
show. It's not lip service. It's the art of running uphill. Everybody is perfecting that art of running uphill. We've perfected leadership to get people to help them run uphill faster and go farther and go harder. Like, that's what leadership is in what we're talking about. I am going to sit back and try to figure out how I can design this environment and motivate you to go eat the frog more.
No, that's not leadership. That's just being a manager.
No. I'm not saying that's what leadership is. I'm saying that's what we've done. This is the art of running uphill and leadership of running uphill. Like, I'm saying this is how it's evolved, right? Even the leaders of these organizations are like, well, yeah, I don't have to eat as much shit anymore, and I can eat the frog less, but I have to figure out how to get you to eat more frogs so I can eat less frogs. But at the same time, we're all just running uphill.
How do you get people to produce more? Let's say right now you have the mandate from the top. Say, hey, we need to cut costs and double our sales. What do you do?
It's the carrot or the stick.
It's mostly the stick.
Sometimes it's the carrot. They'll try the carrot first. Like, we'll pay you
but
more.
But the carrot doesn't work.
The stick doesn't work either.
It works.
No, it works for a short period of time. It doesn't work long term. Like,
if you have the choice, the thing is,
neither one of them work.
If you say we need to make this quota, otherwise, we're gonna have to cut costs, which is the stick. Meaning that we cut costs, meaning one of you gotta go.
You could get a momentary boost out of carrots or sticks. I'm saying, but it's not sustainable long term. Like, that's the art of running downhill is sustainable long term. It's when people are doing what they like to do.
This is what we do as a society.
Yes.
Mostly it's a stick.
Yes.
Your employees listen to you because they want that paycheck. They don't want to get fired. That's a stick.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it works a little bit, depending on what level you are. But the guy at the bottom, right? they need the job and have no other option. They're stressed out and they need to pay the mortgage, their apartments or the bills or whatever.
Run uphill.
The student loans or their child support, right? They will do whatever it takes to not get fired. It doesn't register in their mind as, hey, I'm going to try to get that, because, they are drowning as is. The only way for you to get them to work is they are going to say, well, it's a stick. But if you're talking about like the guy who's at top, like for your example, if in your shoe, you have more options. For you to have the stick, it's hard to get you to work at the stick. So they give you bonuses because you have options. But the guy at the bottom,
it doesn't. Neither one of them.
It's less effective in terms of how the stick will be leveraged against you. Okay?
Good book.
And so they basically have to kind of like combine the carrots and stick in between those to kind of say, hey, how much can I push this Chris guy for him to continue to do the work without breaking it? Because there is a breaking point where you say, this sucks. I quit. I'm going to get in a job, right? But the guy at the bottom, right, the less choice he has, the more stress he has, the more effective the stick will work.
I don't disagree at all. But what you and I are discussing is all the wrong things anyway, is the whole point. Like the point is to run downhill. What we're discussing is what we're talking about is the art of running uphill. How can we get people to eat the frog more and longer and be more stressed? Like, I mean, that's really what we're talking about.
Eat more frogs as you go. Eat more shit as you go.
Exactly.
More toilets as you. Because the thing is, they're not going to say, well, hey, Chris, this year you need to make, $1 million quota. Well, next year they say, hi, Chris, you're going to make our quota next year is going to be 500,000.
Actually, it did happen at Salesforce one year. They actually took away some products and recalibrated after so many people failed to hit the quota.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I know. I'm saying it did go down technically.
That's not what I mean, though.
Right.
Because if you say you have to sell this product and nothing changes, nobody's going to say, well, last year you make $1 million quota, right? They don't do that. They always increases the quota. Same thing with taxes. Like, hey, I'm going to tax you this much, and next year I'm going to tax you less. They don't do that. They can always increase the tax, or they make a separate tax to kind of cover for the decrease of the tax. So people are conditioned for that kind of environment. So that's what I'm saying is the reason why we talk about these things is because people don't realize the inside of this, I don't know what you call this, the machine thing, right? Unless they can relate to what I'm saying, they're not going to say, well, I should not be continue to master the art of running uphill. They say, well, I'm doing it. Eventually I'm going to get out. That's the thing is they think that tomorrow or the day after that or years from now, 5 years from now, they're going to get out of this matrix. They are not getting out of the matrix. Because the thing is, I'm telling you, the guy who's making $1 million is stressed out because his neighbor is making 1.1. Because when is it enough?
It isn't.
Because you condition yourself to go, but that's what I'm saying. It never ends. It doesn't matter because let's say I make $100,000 a year.
Right.
My house is kind of like enough for me to pay with my $100,000. When I make $200,000, other bills are gonna come that's gonna take away all my $200,000. When I make $1 million, other bills are gonna come in to take away my $1 million. I'm never ever gonna get out of this rat wheel. And so that's the key to me is people think that tomorrow will be better. That is the biggest lie in this society. It does not get better because you're still stressed out. You're still working for something. It's not even yours because it's just a transition. Whatever amount of money goes in your bank, it moves out. It doesn't stay. And so regardless, if you can say, well, later on I'm gonna make $1 billion, we're gonna spend $2 million for your expenses. Like, what's it for? That's what I'm saying is people always gonna stay in this rat wheel. It never get out until you understand what it is that you truly value and look at what you're doing versus what you need to do.
Yep.
Why should I choose to auto run down here when I can do it up here? And this is what I've been doing all the time. And I'm actually getting pretty good at it. I'm a fucking manager now. Oh, I'm a VP now. I'm a senior VP. I'm an executive. I'm a fucking entrepreneur. Right? Hey, there's an auto run down here. Yeah? Look, I make more money than those two, geezer over there. What the fuck? Think about it. But I'm telling you that, hey, I don't care if you're a VP, right?
Right.
you're gonna have more stress than I will ever have.
Yep.
An art of running a
And not only
hero.
more stress, you're gonna have stuff that sucks your energy versus stuff that gives you energy in your life all the time. Like, who the fuck wants to always have their goddamn energy just sucked out of them? Their life force. It's the Hampton J. Pig of the world, you know?
I mean, you think about, let's say you think about your Prince Harry, right? Your Prince William, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how much money do you have? But my question
Oh,
to you is, are you like really the
he's
top of
miserable.
the game where you can be anywhere without people like
Yeah.
looking at you, right?
He's in a he's a rat in a cage. He hates it. His book
So that's what I'm
it's
saying is,
terrible.
how far can you go and have this kind of a luxury of, hey, I have no resistance. You think about it, right? That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying
it's
is, you can say,
awesome.
well, I'm a fucking CEO. Okay, but you still have to answer to your investor. And even if you're fucking Elon Musk, right? People can
Right.
go on Twitter and say, well, oh, blah, blah. And I mean, everybody's a critic.
Right.
And people can say, wow, she's this and she's that. Like, you think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, where can you go? There is no escaping this thing. You stress out because you're a human. You're built to receive, praises and
I,
critics, right? Because the thing
I
is,
just,
I don't care if you're. I mean, I don't care if you're like the queen, right? People say, hey, the queen is this, the queen is that, right?
yeah,
It affects you. It affects you. It doesn't
uh,
matter if you say,
100%.
well, these peasants, what here they say is, is not gonna influence me, blah blah. That's not true. You're a human being. You're gonna be affected, right?
Yeah,
Eventually, people are gonna accept. That's why it is difficult for you to be in this rat wheel and get out of it yourself. You cannot.
I don't think it's possible to get out on your own. As a matter of fact, two stories just came to mind that when you said that. Number one was I'm wearing a hoodie right now with gym shorts and my obviously beard look like I'm homeless. I got unchanged from my work clothes or whatever.
Mhm.
I had to go run over to Ace Hardware to get something like earlier tonight. And this is no joke. I walked into this place and I was like, I looked down and I had like some crap on my shirt. I was like, I literally had this thought. I was like, if I was actually somebody that was a famous person, I walked into this place, they would be like, what? First of all, my first thought was I could never get away with walking into this place looking like I look like right now, because
Yeah.
somebody
I
would
mean,
go, what is wrong with this guy? Like, he looks like a homeless person, and I'm in here going, I kind of like the fact that I get to look like a homeless person. I don't even care. Nobody cares. Nobody notices. Nobody's gonna give a shit. But I had this weird thought that tonight, like in particular, because I just look like I look like a total piece of shit right now, and I'm like, it's fine. I don't care. Like,
no
but
stress. But the
no
guy
stress.
who is like impeccable or whatever,
Right.
like even a little like blemish, it's a stress. Oh, I gotta go change.
Right.
You gotta get rid of this and blah blah blah. Right? You can even say, well, I mean, even if you have people that does stuff for you, you still have to call
Right.
them. You still have to wait
Yeah.
for them, and you still have to say, well, I don't want people to see me in this. You're trying to cover something up, and
Yeah.
so you're being completely absorbed. Your attention has been diverted to something that should not have been a thing. Should not have been a thing at all.
No, I shouldn't even think about what I look like when I walk out of the house.
Right? He can't even go out there without it. Is there somebody in a fucking tree that's taking pictures of me? I don't want him to take picture of me when I'm yawning or something. My face over the, the tabloid. Well, just
Yep.
think about it. It's like he can't even go out.
It's gotta be so
And
stressful. I mean,
it can't even go, hey, let me go out and enjoy the breeze without a fucking, people trying to take pictures of me. And then, because of that, you have like bodyguards. So you can't have any kind of privacy, any kind of freedom.
control.
You're
Yeah. I mean,
basically in a fucking cage, right? So to me, it gets
literally.
worse. It gets
Yes.
worse when you think about the stress that should not have been a stress at all. It's a stress that people have to deal with. So that's what
Yep.
I'm saying is, you think that tomorrow it will be better. If you continue down this rat wheel, the concept of the rat wheel is that doesn't matter how fast you go,
Hamster wheel.
hamster wheel, whatever.
Right. We don't keep rats in cages. Like, we put hamsters in cages. They're pets.
Okay, hamster in cages, but it'll come back. That's the thing is, and that is the biggest lie that we tell ourselves is, it'd be better tomorrow. The thing is, it would not be better on the hamster wheel. It will never be, and that's my point is that people don't see that.
Harry's a great example. Like, you and I look at his life and you're like, man, just don't do it. We could sit here from a casual observer going, there is another way to live your life, Harry, where you don't have to be Prince Harry. Yes, you'll always be Prince Harry, but you don't have to be a royal person. You could just not have bodyguards. If somebody wants to kill you, like, you could just go be a normal person if you wanted to, and just say, I don't give a shit. Like, and just do whatever you want to do. But my point is you and I can sit back and observe that because we have a completely different paradigm of life, right?
Right,
And
but I'm not saying that I can solve Harry's problem because Harry's
no,
already been in that particular
yeah,
situation. It's
he's
that's not a
he's
good
in
way
it.
to get it out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that people like us today, we are nobody, which is an advantage. It is a
Yeah.
disadvantage and advantage at the same time. Like I said, everything has a pros and cons, right?
Mhm.
But I'm saying is people are like us today, are in this corporate hamster wheel, are yearning for the day that they want to become like Harry, or at least close to what Harry is doing, and they think that is the solutions to their problem, the solutions to their stressful, environment
Take
that they're in.
control. Take
Right, and
control, basically.
that's the hope.
Run up enough hills, like I can eventually take control at the top of the hill. That doesn't, it's not how it works. It just gets worse.
Because if they think that way, right? If they think that
Right.
way, there's no way for me to go and for me and you go tell them, hey, there is a better way. There's no need for you to climb the corporate ladder because I can tell you right now. Let's say, so you're talking about to your employee about playing basketball. He said, hey, I'm willing to play for free. I'm willing to pay for free, but I won't willing to work. Not even a doctor. Somebody has been in medical school for let's say 2 years or 3 years, right? And you ask him or her, did you would you practice medical for free? And they say, hell no, I ain't doing that, right?
Not all of
And
them.
I'm just asking the question. It depends on your answers.
Right.
The answer is that if you say I would practice medical for free, then yeah, this is your calling. That's good. Continue.
Right.
But if you hate it so much and you trying to endure this, become a doctor, eventually, when down the line, you're gonna hate your life, right?
Yep.
Would that make good sense? They say, yeah, it makes sense. But then if I ask you today, why don't you just quit the third year of medical school and go do something you love? They cannot do it.
Yeah, it's awesome. You're in too deep at that point in time. This is what you said at the beginning of this was like the atomic bomb of losing my daughter, which I would never wish for anybody or myself or anybody. But at the same time, that shot me out of a reality that I was in where I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, I just don't care. Like, because I lost my daughter's not fucking next to me, So like that was, I would never want anybody to have to go through something like that. Right. But to your point though, like, like short of that, we've talked about this so many times, short of that, or what we're trying to do with Clubany, how do you get out of that once you're in it? It's so hard. I remember saying to myself in my Angie's List days when I started to have panic attacks all the time, like, and I told you this, and this is almost like, it almost makes me sad that this was, I searched and searched and searched for answers of how to solve. I'd never had panic attacks before in my life. And I searched and searched for answers going, why do I feel so sad every single day? Waking up, going to a job where I make a lot of money, I get to lead a team, I get to do stuff that I like to do. I actually liked the job. And I was like, why do I feel so sad every fucking day going into the office where I dread it every day to the point in time where I start to have panic attacks? My body was feeling awful. I was like in pain all the time. I could, I hurt all the time. I was, taking Xanax because just to be able to get through the day, like whatever, all these things, right? I was enduring a lot of frogs just to be able to get to the fucking office every single day. This was my lesson that I learned after 2.5 years of struggling with panic attacks almost daily. Do you remember what I told you my lesson was?
Talk to God.
No. Not at that time. That was way later. That was because this wasn't a real atomic bomb. This was like a tiny little, Scud missile that got dropped, and it was annoying. I kept getting hit by, little Scud missiles, and it was like annoying. No, my key finding from that was, this is no joke. I almost am embarrassed to say this. It was, you have to learn how to be happy when you're unhappy.
I remember. But that's the thing is, I don't keep that advice.
That's fair. I mean, like as we're talking about this right now, it's like we're talking about, if you're unhappy, stop doing that. Stop doing
Embrace the suck.
I mean,
let it be happy with the unhappy.
I be happy while I was unhappy, and that made sense to me. I was like, you just gotta embrace the suck. You gotta, run uphill. You gotta, learn how to love running uphill.
I would say that you had these panic attacks, you are sad every day, you're depressed. I would willing to bet you that without the atomic bomb you had, you would still continue down that.
No, I stopped eventually. I figured it out, like,
No,
but I
kind
kind
of
of
like
figured it out.
make a diversion, but you're still
Yes,
on
yeah,
the same
yes.
path. You
Yes, yeah,
still
yes.
go,
Yep.
you still hustle and bustle. You
Yeah,
still
yeah.
trying to be.
Agreed.
Like you're talking about from Angie's List, going to HC1 and going to Salesforce. I mean, that is not different. You still this competitive.
I chose the environments, though. It was a little different, but you're right. It was more of a
diversion, but you're still on the same
right,
direction.
right.
It's in the same vicinity of the ballpark. So
Yes,
you haven't make a different trajectory. You're still going down that when you just decide to like curve around a corner or something like that. So I'm saying is your endpoint would not have changed.
No, I don't think so. No. And to be fair, like I'm still in that world, but it's
But I
totally
think
different.
your perspective is different, right?
Yeah,
It's for me,
what I do every single day is different. I lead my
you-
team. I don't even know what I'm doing. I definitely don't do the job that they hired me to do. I created an environment where people can run downhill, hopefully, and sort of downhill, at least flat. They can run flat, because you can't really run downhill if you're not loving what you're doing all day, every day. At least they're running flat. We're no longer running uphill. My team does not run uphill every single day. They at least get to run flat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, even you in the same environment, just like you're still in the matrix, but your purpose is different. You're talking about Neo, right? He still goes to the matrix. He say, well, I'm not completely out of the matrix, but I have a different purpose. In the matrix, I'm trying to wake people up. And so for us, you still in the environment, you still in the corporate, but your behaviors and the way you approach things are different. You are teaching people to be, hey, more of themselves and to get their passion out so that you can produce good work. You also improve yourself in being able to handle this thing because it's by handling stress. Because when things come to you, well, you say, well, I have this employee that is very difficult, right? Am I going to take my head out and trying to figure out how to do this, or I just
corral them and keeping them running uphill?
Yeah, you go.
Right.
And you're still in an environment. You cannot completely take it with it because that's the infrastructure. We are already in. We cannot change the infrastructure overnight, but we can slowly start to influence people to start to look at a different perspective and say, from this perspective, you have a choice. You can continue to do what you want and hope that one of these days that you will get to the point where you think you want to be, or versus look at it from the other perspective and see if it actually gives you the same result that you want, but on a different methodology.
Right.
Because right now, like I said, that this is the questions I struggle to answer, and I still haven't found the answers. Which is for me is how, if I have a time machine to go back and tell my 20-year-old self to change my directions at 20 years old, I still don't have an answer to say to him.
I was writing about this morning. See this title? Not even going to tell you what it's about, but I think you can figure it out.
Yeah. But that's the thing, it's difficult to do things by yourself, and we've been conditioned for so long. It's impossible. That's why we always need to have the outreach hand, and this is who we are. This is what
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah,
exactly. It never ceases to amaze me. Like I looked at the clock at 9 o'clock, and I was like, and I felt like we were already at least 4/5 of the way done with this conversation, and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna make it to 9:30 tonight. I don't know if we're gonna make it past that. And then I looked up, it's 9:32, and I'm like, God damn it! Like it's already 9:32, and we're still like, it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight to this conversation. And I was like, and not that I'm trying to get out of it or something like that. It never ceases to amazes me, like where it's just time just literally just jumps sometimes, and I'm just like, oh. Okay. All right. We're out of time. Like, it's time to put a pin in this one. We can resume our conversations tomorrow. It never ceases to amaze me. It just seems like literally time just jumps.
When you're in a flow, that's what happens. Everything is all your focus, all your attention is in there because your minds are completely like activating all the neurons and stuff. It's not being bored. Not being bored, you completely, ignore everything else. And it feels great. I mean, it feels great to have a conversation. And you think about it, what the fuck are we talking about for the past 2 years?
I mean, this really basically this, I mean,
if you were to talk to one person, right, for 3 years straight, almost every single day, like, what could you imagine being able to talk to that person for 3 straight years and completely lost track of time? Crazy.
It is pretty wild. I mean, I cannot imagine doing that again. This is almost like being married, like I told you about this with my wife or whatever. I was like, I could never get divorced because I'm like, I can't recreate the past 3 years with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in too deep at this point in time. To do something like totally fucked up, like I'm in too deep. Like, I mean, this is too much investment of a time, a good investment, but like,
Well,
too
but the
much
thing
investment.
but then it's the addiction, right?
Right.
It's not like it's not like anyone is forcing us. We're not
Right.
forcing us. Because if I don't feel like talking, there's no way we continue to talk. Now it's 9:34.
Right.
Completely. So it's not like, oh, Drew, talk more, talk more, talk
Right.
more.
Right.
I'm the guy that is not like, I'm more of the extreme introvert where I don't like to talk to people.
Right. Right.
I don't have a lot of friends aside from you, but I don't have a lot of friends. And that's what I'm saying is when you're addicted to something, right?
You
It
have fun.
it
Yeah.
it's
It's
your
fun.
brains are firing at all cylinders, and that creates this memories, man. That's why I say is most of the thing I remember, most of the thing I just don't remember. You're talking about like the art run down here, when you talk when you mentioned the art run up here, question mark, say I don't want to I want to run down here because that's on my mind, right? Talking
No,
about
I know.
on train, talking about beaver, talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
all these things is I remember the positive lessons I learned. Anything that's negative, it completely like pass it. I don't recall it at all.
I agree. This was a kind of a not a joke reflection, but like it really is an art to running uphill. There really is an art.
I don't
There's
disagree with
colleges
that.
that are built around the art of running uphill. It's called business management courses at Purdue or at any school. It's called HR courses. It's called the entrepreneurial courses at college or whatever, right? Like, I mean, these are like courses to teach you how to run uphill better. There's Y Combinators, there's incubators, there's accelerators to help you with these things, to educate you. There's people like Gary Vee, there's Grant Cardone's of the world. There's all these people that are remember that one dude with procrastinate on purpose? There's a whole genre of productivity experts of how to eat the frog more efficiently,
Yeah.
and how to be a better manager in that frog aquarium. There's way more work that's been dedicated in this world to running uphill and the art of it and perfecting that art than anything that's out there of the art of running downhill. I mean, I was being dead serious, like in a ironic way with this title, because there really is an art to running uphill, but it kills you. Just to be clear, this is not a good art to perfect.
Right. I completely agree with that sentiment because then if I hadn't been in the company before, I would think that's something that I want to learn.
I agree. I did want to learn. That's what I studied. This is what I was fascinated with. I was like, man, this sucks, but I guess I could. There's got to be a way to make it suck less,
Let's learn how.
How can I make this suck less? Like that statement alone should sum up every problem that is with the current working world. You said it in the first sentence. It sucks. Like, it just sucks. So don't do the stuff that sucks.
Let's do more of it.
Yeah, and do it faster, better,
But
God.
it's a sunk cost fallacy. That's what I'm telling you. Like a medical student, right? A medical student, like he or she sunk 3 or 4 years of medical school,
Right.
and so she or he was willing to endure another.
I'm talking about just to get to be a doctor. You have to endure another.
But the thing is, if you hate being a doctor in medical school, right? That means you have to practice the fucking thing because you pay how much money to get the degree, right?
A lot.
40, 50 years, a whole entire life. That's what I'm saying. And you sunk in, like, it sucks. Let's put more effort into it. That's what people do today. It sucks, but let's do
go
more
study
of
it.
it.
Let's go to seminars. Let's go listen to Tony Robbins. Let's go to we'll invest into it. Like, as Darren Hardy always says, the greatest investment you can ever make is in yourself.
You're like, let's eat the frog. Well, let's eat more. Put some sriracha on it.
Right. Well, let's go to gourmet training cooking school to learn how to make your frog taste just a little less shitty.
Put some salt and pepper on it.
Some salt, right? Yeah, like we'll teach you to make all the sauces. So we
can eat more frogs.
Yes, right. And you're like, no, it's still gross. All right,
that's
we gotta put it. All right. Okay. The question we can leave for everybody is, basically, are you running uphill? Are you perfecting your art in one way or another? Is your art running uphill? Is your art running downhill? Like, that's really the question, right? And I think I know where we stand on this side of this equation. If
it's not a question for me.
It's not even
like
a question.
It's not my cup of tea. I'm sorry, but I ain't gonna run uphill.
The only reason I even run uphill is so I get to run downhill when I literally run up a hill, right? Like, because I'm like, oh God, this thing's got to fucking end eventually, and then I can go down the hill, right? Well, you never get over the hill. That's the problem with art of running uphill and the corporate world. And there is never a backside.
It only gets steeper.
Yes.
It gets steeper, and so it's actually much harder.
If anything, you can just fall back
Close to
down
the
the
top.
hill, like, you know.
That's what I'm saying is it's actually steeper because it's actually easier than that. The top is like 10 times more stress. That's why people say they manage some hedge fund and they lose $6 billion. I mean, they go and say, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Oh, good.
and they stress out. I mean, everything is completely, you know, when haywire.
Off a cliff. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's zero good that can come from.
That's why you have no will to live anymore, because you lose this meaningful relationship. Because at the top it is so difficult, it's so steep that you could fall down anytime and there's nobody there to catch you, to help you. That's why people jump to their death from the top of a high financial towers and stuff.
Right. It's fun life. It's really exciting. Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad waste of humanity. All right. Anyway, have a good night, everyone. We will see you tomorrow.